If you're watching this, thank you. And please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it. So I'm here to talk about Real Housewives of Potomac. But I also need to say, I went to the Stevie Wonder concert last week, last Thursday, and it was amazing. Stevie Wonder, it's like he hasn't even aged in his voice. You know the way some people have, and it's so clear, it's so amazing. Stevie Wonder is the man. What is hard though, however, and this is just a little caveat before we get into Potomac, is when you go to a concert like that at MSG and the overwhelming number of people there are white, and you can tell not only are they white, they don't like black people except for black people performing, and they don't understand what it is to do call and response and be essentially involved in the performance. Like, it's just like black person perform for us. So I had a great time, but that's just something I noticed. I hope y'all having a good Indigenous Peoples Day / Columbus Day, because they have not changed it on the federal calendar. And I feel like if Columbus was getting a day and he never reached America, Indigenous Peoples Day needs to at least be a week. But that's why I have time to do this review. I did my laundry. I'm going to get my haircut tomorrow. Don't judge me. All right, so meanwhile, back at Karen's Hatitude party, all right, that Giselle's tacky ass is throwing for her. Don't worry about my midday margarita. Minor detail. All right, I can't do this every day. Anyway, Jackie is consoling her. Mia is hurt. You can really tell. Okay? And Wendy was absolutely right. Like I said last week, she was like, at the core, look, we are mothers. And y'all made it seem like she was a bad mother. Giselle was like, I didn't say that. And she was like, well, that's what you made it seem like. And she was absolutely right. Y'all went in for no fucking reason. Okay? Giselle, I don't care what anybody says, is an old, miserable bitch who is aging even more quickly than she should, because the only joy she gets out of life is seeing other people's downfall. Period. Okay? And as we can see, for the colorism police, she'll do it to Mia, she'll do it to Karen. That's who the fuck she is. Okay? Moving on. Ooh. But wait until Mia comes too, because I guarantee you, I want her to get low and bring up Jamal's engagement out of nowhere, and let's all watch Giselle's face. Anyway, Mia says this is what Karen likes to do. She likes to deflect. And I was like, that's absolutely what happened. She switched it up on y'all. All right? Giselle invites Wendy out so they can get to a better place. And Wendy says, hey, I agree. Now, I'm not married. Okay? I'm not married. I'm not somebody who cares to be married. If somebody comes along that convinces me otherwise and proves it otherwise over and over again, then perhaps. Okay, however, I will say I respect the sanctity of marriage. Okay, I don't believe in open marriages and that kind of shit. I think people need to be honest with themselves and say, you know, hey, I am in open relationships, quite frankly, because I'm looking for the love I never had growing up. Okay, but anyway, Giselle invites Wendy out, like I said. Now, I'm not married, but if a bitch lied about my husband cheating on me and carrying on, we could never be cool. Ever. Because that's her character, to lie on the man you are at one with. That's not cool. That's not cool. Fuck her. All right? The hat Wendy got was some bull. The rap she did was even worse. When she tried to repeat the Coming to America rap, it was like boom, 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 boom. What did she say? Anyway, it's supposed to go, all the DJs like to feel my breast, and I was like, she was like, all the women. I was like, huh? Girl, Coming to America? You gotta do better. Anyway, Karen said this was not the Inquisition party they thought it would be. She can handle anything. I was like, yeah, through complete and brutal deflection, the way y'all went in on Mia. And that was not necessary. That was not necessary, and that could have waited for another time. But y'all didn't do that. So Giselle and Wendy meet up at a restaurant, I guess, to at least just, I don't know, come to some understanding. So why, after near 20 damn years of reality TV with shows like this, all right, do these chicks do scenes at restaurants to talk about individual problems they have? Can y'all please get us a new spiel? It's so fake. It's so forced, okay? Wendy, you are a pick me friend, by the way. This is not the first time you have overdone it to fit in. The way you went in on Monique when you didn't know her like that, and she rocked Candace's head. The way you have tried to pretend like you were trying to pretend like you were cool with Mia when NECA was there. Like, you just do some whack ass shit. How was Giselle mad at you for any significant reason after she accused your husband of cheating? As far as I'm concerned, nothing else you even said about her or to her matters. She started that shit. You were trying to be cool with her. Fuck her. Anyway, Giselle told Wendy, when you're fine, you're fine. When you're angry, you're condescending and demeaning. Ashley had said that several seasons ago. How she weaponizes her degree. Now, Wendy was like, I receive it. But if we keeping it real, sometimes their idea of condescension, I'm not saying that Wendy doesn't say how many degrees she has, so on and so forth. But nevertheless, their idea of condescension is based on the fact that they feel insecure around her because a lot of them are dumb. It is what it is. Okay. And Wendy was like, but you can't police how I respond when you said things about and to me. Facts. Okay, so Wendy said, I don't like the way you try to alienate people. Bitch. Bitch as in Giselle. You have a history of isolating people, trying to cut people out of filming like you did Monique with your jealous ass as far back as season 1. Okay, Wendy ain't told no lies even in this conversation. That's why she a pick me friend. Because you letting shit go that I couldn't let go. Okay, so Wendy does bring up how Mia was hurt. And she was absolutely right. And kudos to Wendy. I don't know why I always get Wendy and Mia mixed up. Not like physically, but for some reason when I'm talking about them, I get them mixed up. All right, anyway, Wendy looks also like her name should be Ebony. You know, some people like look like their name, and then there's other people who don't. I don't know why, but Wendy and Mia, for some reason, that's not the first time I said these on these videos, but I get them mixed up for some reason. Anyway, Wendy does bring up how she thought Mia was hurt based on the things that they said. They're not even friends like that, but you know what, Wendy, I appreciate you standing on that and calling her out on that, because that's unacceptable. And then, of course, Giselle being Giselle and being a lonely, miserable bitch brings up how Mia's boyfriend is shorter than her, this, that, and the other. Because it's Giselle, it's some bullshit. Next, we get Stacey at her house. Now, Stacey is teaching her daughter essentially to be trilingual. She has English, Spanish, and German. I think, honestly, I watched that and I thought that was a great scene. I like seeing classy black women because Stacey gives me that vibe, even though she's on this show. But there is something about her. When they say you can't buy class, you can't buy what Stacey gives. You can't buy that. Her and her husband live in the same house while they're divorcing. They haven't told their daughter that they're divorcing. They said until they've made final decisions about where she will live, where she'll go, what the schedule is like. I get it, but I think that's a lot of work for nothing, and rip the Band-Aid off. And I'm saying that because a student gave a speech just about their perspective one time for a convocation, and they talked about that their parents stayed living together one floor or the second floor so they could be around both parents, but that it was also confusing for them because I don't have kids, and I imagine that's a tough decision. So this isn't judgment, but that was something that I felt like, ooh. And I think they gave that speech. They didn't have to do anything that personal in the convocation where both their parents would be, to express what they could not express at home. And it wasn't even like a damning indictment. It's really because they were telling kind of a narrative, and then they always gave students the opportunity to ask questions, and that was one of those situations. All right, anyway, so Karen and Kiana at Karen's house. I like Kiana. Okay, they call her Kay. I hope I'm not mispronouncing her name because I know what it is to have a name that people mispronounce. I forgot that Karen was the one looking out for her after that violent shit show at GNA. Okay, the one thing I can give Karen is that she manages to make friends and support young black women and / cast members on this show. And I respect that. And instead of letting them rip her apart constantly for age, even though she may feel insecure about it, she plays a mother hen role that does not seem fake to me. And I think that's why I fucks with Karen even when she lies and deflects. Anyway, So, Kiana and Greg is her partner or whatever, they are moving in and building a house from the ground up. I would never, like I said, I'm not into being married, but hear me out. I would never buy or share a house with a man I was not married to. Too many things can happen, and legal paperwork matters. So if we break up, boyfriend and girlfriend, how the fuck is that gonna go down in court? I imagine people have been doing it because people do it all the time. I'm just not into it. Nope, nope, nope. Don't believe in it. I don't want to hear the other side. Or maybe you can put in the comments if you feel differently, if you have a good reason. But I don't believe in it. I just don't. I think it gets too messy. So, Kiana, you are a very, very beautiful woman. But that low maintenance Mexican confessional look, you can keep it. You were too pretty, and you also, and because you're pretty, you kind of got away with it, but it's tacky. Don't do that no more. So, Kiana has not been invited to any of the other events that people have had, and especially the one being run by Giselle. And that's what Wendy was basically saying when she was talking about in terms of isolating people that Giselle does. She doesn't want her, and I feel like this is Giselle's MO, and this is me, but nevertheless, this is her MO based on what I've seen over the last 8, now 9 seasons. Okay, she doesn't want her to start getting camera time, and this is what it's about. All right, now moving on. Kay, I don't understand how a man is building from the ground up and hasn't given you a ring. Is he still married? You didn't say whether he was married, but it just gives me there's other stuff happening. Anyway, but I have no idea. That is a non-educated guess. Anyway, so Ashley and Stacey meet up. Ashley does what she normally does, made some slick ass comment about her news voice, cause you jealous, cause you ain't pretty and classy, and you can't buy it. Anyway, then Stacey tells her that her and her husband are divorcing but still live together. Ashley acts shocked. Like that bitch wasn't doing the same fucking thing for years with Michael Darby and is essentially still tied to him because he done gave her money for this house, and it's hard for me to believe their names are both on his house. Anyway, I hate how this cast is so hypocritical. Like, the Atlanta cast, you know, back when Real Housewives of Atlanta was Atlanta and not just people that came to Atlanta to do a job. Kenya, that other girl, Drew, like, I don't like that. I know Atlanta, I'm from Atlanta, like, no, okay? But something about this cast, they are especially hypocritical, and it's disgusting. Okay, so she asked Ashley, tried to ask her in a polite way, what was her nationality? I was like, American? Anyway, she said, well, she was basically talking about her race. She said, I'm biracial, but I identify as a black woman. Like, basically, I have a white father, but I identify as a black woman, and she, so on and so forth. And she asked her the same question. Stacey asked Ashley the same question. I've had it for a long time. Was how was she raising her boys to identify? And people can play these games and say, oh, it doesn't matter, and try to get away with it. The fuck it doesn't. Because what you look like and what you are is how you are treated in this country and in this society. Like I've said, I wouldn't dare sit here and say colorism doesn't exist. What I'm saying is this is a bunch of mean bitches that signed up for a reality show because that's who they are. That's why I felt like it was so petty on here. What I do find problematic is when people are not calling out people like fucking Chris Brown, who has been actively disrespectful to dark-skinned women who have tried to get into like his after party, so on and so forth, and yet they admit to still listening to their music while claiming to go hard on colorism with bullshit shows like this. Putting money in Chris Brown's pocket by buying his music, his albums, and doing all this other fucking shit. See, that to me is more problematic. But see, nobody wants to have a serious conversation about that. They just want to make snide comments about light-skinned chicks or say, how I wish I was dark-skinned, as if that's going to fix the colorism issue. No, the fuck it won't. We got to all do some work on that. But I also know what it is to be a black girl who grew up in the Deep South and be treated bad because I was light-skinned and because people made presumptions. Okay, this is through college and adulthood. And I ain't nobody's fucking biracial. Okay. You look how you look. So I just say that to say there are times we need to have serious conversations about race and overemphasis. And Ashley admitted she's struggling with it, and I imagine because they don't look like what black people look like typically. But they will if you don't start telling them things to be proud of and, planting seeds. They will grow up to identify with their white looking father the way I feel like you sometimes do, despite growing up around the black people that loved you, not the ones that shut you out of their whole fucking house, to resent you or to be ashamed of you. And you got to nip that shit in the bud. And I feel like that's what Stacey's trying to do. All right. And she was like, look, she has a German husband who's very proud of who he is. And she said, my daughter's very proud of her history. She said, but I want her to have the same pride in being a black girl. And I was thinking to myself, she can. And I'm going to keep it real. That's your job, Stacey. You should have been all on top of that. She's living in fucking America. Your husband is doing what he's supposed to do, teaching her about his side. You need to do your fucking part. There are so many more books and reflections of young black girls for children, for young adults, now than there ever were. My parents were teaching me my history from the time I couldn't even think or sound out my own name. And that was before you started having an overwhelming publication. Like, I knew who Du Bois was as a kid. I knew about Martin Luther King, not on a marching level, but understanding his role in going against capitalism, militarism, and racism. Like, my parents were on top of that shit, teaching me about slavery and every fucking thing else, and why I should be proud of who I am, and why I should always fight and identify with my people. Okay, so that can be done, but that is your job. All right? You need to do your part. And she doesn't look black necessarily. She doesn't look white necessarily. You can tell she's something else. But you can fix that, because I definitely have had quite a few biracial children that I've taught who would be technically that. And they, of course, had black mothers, the ones that did. And while they were light, they were the kind of people who, if somebody called them white, and I watched this, and they told me, like, individual stories, even as, like, small kids in middle school, that I think it's ignorance. I don't like when people say I'm not black. And, and they would give them the business. And I was so proud of them. I was so proud of them. And that to me said their mothers were doing the right thing. Like, yeah, you have a white father, but you're not white. You black. They didn't even say you were biracial. You're black. And and their mothers, even in like things like parent-teacher conferences, were telling me how happy they were that she had a black teacher, and so on and so forth. So don't tell me it can't be done. Don't tell me it can't be done. All right? Stacey, your religiously devout boyfriend, honey, is gay. He's gay. He's gay. Ray Charles could see that he's gay. He uses Christianity as a front. And like I said, I done brought up, I'm from Atlanta a million times. The home of the down low. Not that people don't do that everywhere else. But anyway, he uses his Christianity as a front for what he can't use to be honest with the fact that he's fucking gay. Okay? If he's that Christian, then why is he dating a woman that's still married? Miss me. He doesn't want to have sex with a woman, and he's afraid to. And he knows how to pick people out, like Stacey, who are going through a divorce, who may not feel comfortable engaging yet, and exploiting that. All right, so just miss me. But Ashley is in no position to laugh after she done been up. Never mind. Y'all watch the show. All right, so Karen comes to Giselle's house. We already knew it was going to be some bullshit. She asked her if she had a nice attitude party. Giselle, everything you do is tacky. Your makeup you do is tacky. It looks caked on. Because you can tell Giselle was very pretty. And Giselle, honestly, I think physically is still a beautiful, mature woman to an extent. But then my soul says to me that anybody who is ugly on the inside is ugly on the outside. And that's why I don't see it for her. Okay? Anyway, she told her, yeah, I had a nice attitude and inquisition party. She told her how shady it was, of course, because Giselle is a bitch. But at the same time, they didn't get a chance to carry out an inquisition because you were too busy beating up on Mia. Now, does Mia have a lot going on? Yes. Did Mia deserve that or come in there talking about her life? She did not. And that's not fair to Mia. And that was a fucked up thing y'all did, because I could tell she was really hurt. And like I said last week, anybody that grew up in foster care and without a family and an abusive father and is trying to do the best they can, and we know Mia lives kind of raggedy, okay? We know she marries men for money. You know, she was on a pole and stuff like that. But I am not going to sit here for 1 second and pass judgment on the fact that Mia, who said I was trying to get my kids out of an abusive situation, we don't know what the fuck Mia was going through. But that reaction she had was based on whatever she experienced with him. And I don't believe in doing that to women. And y'all did that and it wasn't nice. It was cruel. And I don't appreciate it. So anyway, Giselle tells her about her and Wendy's conversation. We don't care. Karen put Jacqueline, in timeout because Jackie said she was going to wait until the verdict came out. I said, Karen, you are fucking tripping. She was supporting you when everybody else was talking shit about you at that table by saying, look, none of us were there and we shouldn't cast judgment. And I was like, is that why y'all started fucking with Mia? Because y'all don't know enough of Jacqueline's business? That's not cool. And she was like, well, if they're my friends, then they will have my back no matter what. She never said she wasn't going to have your back. She was trying to actually quell down what was coming your way. Because I think Jacqueline's a cool chick. I think she's a good addition to the show. But what you're saying is some bullshit and I don't appreciate it. So then Karen says that Kiana was taken aback by the fact that she wasn't invited to Karen's B-Day party. And Giselle was like, I could only invite a certain number of people. I was like, then bitch, go to another restaurant. It shouldn't have been that much to add another person. But it's Giselle. We know better. So, sorry for slurping, but I should have made my margarita bigger. But that's okay. I still got tequila in the refrigerator. Sorry. Anyway. Okay. And Giselle tells us about that. But Giselle was right that Karen was being shady by even telling her that. Because I'm going to be honest, if somebody is telling me about a party in a circle that I'm supposed to be in to some degree, and you want to mention that I wasn't invited and you not taking up for me like that, that's hurtful. And I know Kay doesn't like her, but still, that's not the point. It's not nice. It's not nice. All right? So anyway, Giselle goes on and said that GNA is moving into more of a health and wellness direction, even though it was about athleisure and stuff before, and wanting to partner to help people with brain tumors, okay? And things along that line, because her dad died from one, things like brain cancer and stuff like that. I don't play about stuff like that. So even though I don't like her and or Ashley, I think it's good to help. And I'll leave it there because my mother is a 2-time breast cancer survivor and only got her portal out still 2 weeks ago. And you still have to undergo a lot. And once again, just while I have everybody here who listens, I'm so grateful to people who I have never even met in person that left, positive, supportive comments and pray for my mother. Because I'm going to tell you right now, there's a lot of times where I just broke down or had to go into the bathroom at work and I was just struggling. So I say that to say I get it, and my issue with her on this show cannot be superseded by my compassion about things like that. Okay, so Karen is being honored someplace, somewhere, somehow. And Giselle says she thinks she asked to be honored because of all those 8 or 9 citations she has. And they're both having events the same day. Let me tell you something. When it comes to Karen and Giselle's bullshit, I'm not even pressed to decide who's worse. It will always be Giselle, even if Karen was wrong. Because the Grand Dame is less of a bitch than Giselle is. And the way Karen was sitting, I don't even know what time it was. Girl, you had your phone in your hand. You could have. But once again, it's Giselle, so I don't care. So Giselle said Karen is not a friend. And why would she do that? Now, granted, that is a good question. She just threw her a birthday party. I was like, a shitty one with them same ass hats. But okay, girl. Anyway, Mia said Karen needs attention, and that's why she did it. But yet Mia was in the band going to These bitches are so disloyal. It's unbelievable. Um, okay. So, they're having events the same day, all right? So Giselle says Karen's not a friend. Why would she do that? She just threw her birthday party. Okay, we got that. Mia said Karen needs attention. Wendy said, I don't know what she's getting honored for, but I'm going to go and support her. Stacy said, I would never send a group text to people who have already committed to another friend's event. Now, that could be taken multiple ways, right? That, oh, she thinks Karen was wrong, but also, if I was going to do it, I'd at least have the decency not to tell everybody that I was doing it at once. Okay? Yes, I told y'all Stacey got class, okay? Anyway, and let me say something else about Stacey. When she told us she was from Detroit, I was like, this is so typical of Detroit. I promise you, everybody I have met from Detroit that are women, I don't know what it is, but they are always extremely beautiful. All of them. Now, granted, I ain't never met everybody in Detroit. Everybody I met in college or had some interaction with. And even as I watched Stacey, I was like, they're always gorgeous. But most of them have always been disproportionately hood. I don't know what the fuck it is, but they are like these pretty women, but they are all hood as fuck. Okay, but Stacey's a little different. Okay, but she is within the tradition of being like really beautiful in my experience. Okay. So anyway, Giselle once again takes it too far and says, what is she being honored for? Running into a tree? And it's those kind of low blows. Remember how Nene would read people and it would be funny? And sometimes, and progressively, it did get lower and lower at times. But it was like funny. Like, Giselle is mean. And that's what makes it not something I laugh at. That's just not funny. Okay? Anyway, Giselle's bullshit event. So she meets up with the people from the National Brain Tumor Society, which actually legitimized it a bit in my eyes. Ashley shows up to the event after the fact. Now, I thought this was their company. I thought GNA was both of their things. And Ashley and Giselle start talking about Karen and her event like it's the first time they've had a discussion. Ma'am. Hell, you and Ashley sat down and talked at 6:30 and wasn't nobody there. Quit playing with me, Giselle. Quit playing. So Giselle says she doesn't want to see any of those hoes. Those are Giselle's words. Now, as far as I'm concerned, they were in the middle. They were in the middle. All right? How seriously can we take Giselle's event? It may have been put together primarily because of the people that they partner with. We know Giselle does not have the ability to put on a good event. Now, Vivian came because, even though she's good friends with Karen, because she RSVP'd to them first. And this is what I mean by they were in the middle. Like, it's not that she's not friends with Karen, but she also felt like, you know, hey, I should show up. All right? And she said, you know, I'm sorry. And she said, oh, Giselle asked her, how did she know about it? And she was like, oh, Ashley invited me. Bitch, this is supposed to be y'all's company. How the fuck you not know? How you know Vivian and not know she was invited? You and Ashley are so unserious. It's unbelievable. So Stacey and everybody in the van that Karen provided transportation for. Karen, you an asshole. Anyway, Stacey and everybody in the van was like, you know, we were putting it in an uncomfortable position. And I agree. They're supporting Karen. And I said this right, you know, as far as I'm concerned, because she's been nicer to them. At least that's what I thought. Okay? That's just my perception. Ashley told them if they're not going to be there, they call her. And Ashley told them if they're not going to be there by 8, don't bother. Stacey was like, yeah, y'all, like I said, it's no way we can make both. Okay? But it also sounded like Giselle and Ashley had only sent out an invitation a week early. That's not usually how galas or, you know, real serious fundraising events go. It's just not. You do that in advance, save the dates, invitations, like a wedding, a gala, like those kind of things to like donate money to a cause. That's not how you do it. So when Ashley told Giselle that she said to the other women that they needed to be there by 8, Giselle said they don't need to come. It's rude. Giselle, unless there was a keynote speaker of 30 minutes or more, it seems like a party and a meetup, not an overly organized event. And what was organized, we know, was based on the Brain Tumor Society, not you and Ashley. Okay? I guess you could only get the place for 3 hours, because at 6:30 p.m. when you and Ashley were talking, hardly anybody was there, and it started at 6. We know how this shit goes, okay? So didn't Giselle say in the text to go ahead and go to Karen's event? Now, granted, I didn't pause it, so if it didn't, just put it in the comments. All right. Jacqueline said I wasn't on the group text, and Jacqueline said, you know, she was talking to Ashley and Giselle, said what Karen heard. Where these balloons come from? I don't know where this comes from on QuickTime. I really don't know, but it seemed like what Jacqueline said, even from what I remember, what I saw again, what Jacqueline said and what Karen heard are two different fucking things. She was not making a dig at her. Now, if you mad at Giselle for this corny ass attitude party she had, take it out on that bitch and that bitch only. Okay, so Karen tells us in the confessional that obviously the girls like her more. Karen, girl, bye. All right, and the people have spoken, but it wasn't her intention to overshadow Giselle. Both of y'all need to stop, because both of y'all some goddamn liars, okay? They made a super brief speech, and by they, I mean Ashley and Giselle, and even a Brain Tumor Society. And they asked people for a donation so that they could help more people. I don't trust Ashley or Giselle with money, so I'm glad the Brain Tumor Society people were there, but they can't get it together. Giselle, you made this far more embarrassing and worse for you as a representative or somebody who's working with the Brain Tumor Society when you made a scene by stopping yourself from taking a picture with somebody who wanted to take a picture with you to kick them out. You made that look bad. You made that look shitty. And if it really was about your father, you could have gotten in their ass after 9 o'clock, after the next day. It wasn't. And you a messy bitch for that. And so, no, I'm not mad at Mia and whoever else came in the door, because I don't remember, for trying to make both of them. They were put in an uncomfortable position. And as far as you were concerned, if they didn't come to you first, it didn't matter. I don't have time for it. But anyway, yeah, please leave your comments, because I would love to know what else y'all think. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you vote in the presidential election. All right, I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.